So on May 18th, 2010, Alan Wake was released in North America for the Xbox 360. And it actually, a lot of people really enjoy this game, but at first, for a while, it actually wasn't selling too well. Of course, it was a new IP, and Remedy, of course, they were known for creating great games. Of course, they had a lot of success with Max Payne 1 and 2. And so when this game was released, I played it from start to finish. Absolutely loved it. Loved the third-person shooting mechanics. A lot of suspense to the game. It was written very well. A beautiful story. The game was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But overall, apparently it wasn't as successful as Remedy and Microsoft had hoped for. Of course, it was initially only available on the Xbox 360, and later it got brought to the PC, and then on PC actually sold very well. Not too long ago, actually last year, the CEO of Remedy actually stated that worldwide Alan Wake has sold 4.5 million copies. Now, all of those, of course, unfortunately have not been $60 games a pop. A lot of those were actually counted into this figure of 4.5 million copies sold worldwide were game tokens that were codes that were included in Xbox 360 bundles. Also, a whole lot of copies of Alan Wake were sold on the Humble Bundle, where people could pay if they wanted just $1 or $2, and they would get Alan Wake and also Alan Wake American Nightmare. But I wanted to just briefly talk about, because I'm not sure how many of you guys know this, but as mentioned, Alan Wake was released in North America. The release date in North America, at least, was May 18th, 2010. There was another game that was released on May 18th, 2010. A game that sold a lot more than Alan Wake on the Xbox 360, and that was Red Dead Redemption. Both of these games, I would actually have to probably put both of these within the top 10 of my favorite Xbox 360 games of all time. So you have two of my favorite Xbox 360 games of all time released on the very same day. And so for a lot of gamers out there, just spending the $50 or $60 of a new game is, pushing it. But to buy two new games within the same week or the same day, for most gamers, I believe, is just out of the reach, and it's just simply not possible. And I could see why, in fact, you compare the two, both of these are really incredible games, but it's really hard. You have both these highly rated games. There's a reason why this one's, both these games scored well, and both of them scored. This one sold okay. This one sold very well. It's one of the best-selling Xbox 360 games of all time. So, I believe, in fact, Alan Wake, would it have sold, double the amount if Red Dead Redemption was released on the same day? Probably not, but I could see, definitely it would have sold a lot more in its first couple weeks. According to the sales tracking organization, NPD, they stated on how within the first 2 weeks, Alan Wake sold 145,000 copies in North America in the first 2 weeks. And for a big time game like this, that's really not that great. It had legs. In time, it sold a whole lot, but overall, it's a game that I love. I am a little disappointed that it didn't sell better, but it does kind of make sense when you talk about the game it was going up against or the competition. The interesting thing, of course, is that Remedy developed this game and of course, released on the Xbox 360, an Xbox 360 exclusive. But, their previous hit, Max Payne 2, was published by Rockstar. So kind of an interesting thing. You have Rockstar, but then you have Remedy. Remedy, had the big hit that was published by Rockstar. Really interesting stuff. Anyway, guys, I'd love to see follow-ups to both of these games. Let me know in the comment section below, guys, your experience with Alan Wake, and of course this monster hit right here, and what your hopes for the future for these games. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later.